Well, it's that time of year again, folks, that I say, where it's time to give some of my quick thoughts and opinions on basically the conclusion part of the award seasons, of course, and as with the area of film in the midst of the Oscars. Now, of course, we're talking about this year's Academy Award nominees, and I was quite surprised by my predictions from last year in particular, as I was near perfect in accuracy, with only about one of my predictions turning out surprisingly wrong. I think it was one of the screenplays, if I remember correctly. I thought that while I'm back to do it again every year, because I like to give my quick predictions that some I would have seen beforehand and give it my own opinions to, and some a little bit of focus group opinion from other pundits online, and see how it will turn out for this year in this regards. Now, in most cases, it's not overly over the top, but this year has seen a bit of a difference in the case that it's been dubbed as probably one of the most drama-filled award seasons of the year, but I'm sure it's probably all a case of, there's all controversies and dramas going around and stuff for, the films that were nominated, but I'm sure it's gotta be overly bad, surely? In this case, let's have a little look here and see how bad, this really case can be. Oh, we have some truly drama-centric discussion for this year's ones for sure, with some big snubs, opinions in a weird award circuit piece getting derailed more and more, and new dramas popping up left, right, and center. But we can get to them down the line and spill the goss on that later, once I fix myself up a bit, because holy hell, it's a lot of opinions too in that regards. We can cross that bridge down the line in this part, so for the moment, let's focus on giving our attention back more to the realm of giving our predictions for this year's Academy Awards, and see who I feel may come out on top for each category.
Monkey!
So we'll start off the categories with the first to focus on bringing what seems impossible in the live action form into the real world, and that is of course with the well established use of visual effects. It's a case that while there's plenty of films that use the form of CGI or visuals, these five were seen as some of the best of this year, with those nominees including Alien Romulus, Better Man, Dune Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Wicked Part 1. Now all of these have their appeal and appreciation in the form of their visuals, and could be a case of some tough competition in terms of who is the better visual wise. Now there is one film that I had hopes to make an appearance for its visuals, and that is with a little bear that loves his marmalade, but I guess because the film only came out in the US on the 14th of this month, it does not count, but hopefully it will in 2026. Now if I had to give a quick choice of where I see it coming down to, I feel it's the next film in the Apes reboot series, and the other being the giant space epic of Dune is what I feel it may come down to in this competition. As while the others have great use of visual effects and practical ones as well, I think it may be a battle of sandworms and humanoid apes as the real contest here, but stranger things have happened before, so I guess we'll see how this all turns out. So to choose my predictions for visual effects, it's between Dune Part 2 or Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Step 1. Breathe.
The second category is a section for any film that can help differentiate between a coherent film of focus and one that is so jumbled and all over the place, and that is with the focus of the editing to these movies, and these five titles have shown and proven themselves in many ways of unique cuts, focus, and flair to make it distinct and stand out, while also providing a clear narrative to follow, and these nominations include Anora, The Brutalist, Conclave, Wicked Part 1, and Emilia Perez. Now, we can say there is a bit of a choice and variety in this area that may appeal in many ways, from the editing of a classic Broadway show, a film that may be all flashy but lacking in focused substance, or something with a bit of a bigger than life expectation but may be affected by its massive runtime. If there's anything that I see as having a best focus chance in the realm of some conventional but still leaves a striking focus, like the religious oligarchy of Conclave, and the other case I feel has a sense of personality to their editing, is Sean Baker's film of Anora, as having the most means to it all and seems like the fan favorites in this category. Some other means could make the other three appeal more, but they seem like the two I've seen having the most competition and chance to it all in this regards. So if I'm going to give a case on anything, I'm going to go for the editing choice between Conclave or Anora for the win.
Am I not turtly enough for the Turtle Club?
Then the third category for the night is focus on seeing the best ways to dress for the occasion, as we are taking on the best choice of costume design, as we have a few talented artists and tailors that help to create some excellent pieces of clothing, and the nominees in focus have shown that while with some fine array of costumes displayed on the big screen or streaming, and those movies are focus of A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Gladiator 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked Part 1. Now all of these films have something that unique in the way they have their outfits and attire focus from the realm of ancient Rome, casual 60s, or robes of the church, all have some unique aesthetic. There is a sense to me that will come down to some that have a big focus chance of appeal, and there's either the gothic horror attire of Nosferatu that's very historically accurate, or the variety of outfits and costumes from the land of Oz with Wicked, as they feel like they jump straight from the pages of the novels or sets and worlds they are based upon, and feel they were the ones that had the most striking to it all in outfits and costumes. While the case if Wicked doesn't win for the costumes this year, they still have a chance for next year with part 2, but I think it will be a close race between those movies in particular, so the choices in costume is going to be between Nosferatu and Wicked Part 1.
I'll brush and brush and brush and brush my hair.
Now, of course, the next category goes hand in hand with the previous one of costume, as you can't have the costumes without the appeal of some hair and makeup done as well, and the choices in this can go beyond the likes of just a variety of hair and go deep into something more prosthetics too as well, and the 5 nominees of this category can show that as well, with them being A Different Man, Emilia Perez, Nosferatu, The Substance, and Wicked Part 1. Now, there is a bit of a mixed appeal of variety with the makeup teams of these films that go beyond a simple wig or choice of simple makeup and go to a level of detailing of making them really show the themes or aesthetics in their designs and crafts, and I will commend them all for their hard work because some of these people are goddamn machine makers, like beautiful works of art. While they all have a strong choice, I think if I had to say the highlight of all of them that resonates the most in this aesthetic of using the makeup approach is with The Substance. As well, I have yet to watch it and also be dealing with the graphic visuals, but I promise someone very important to me in the case that I will be doing it. I know from some images that I have seen online and told from some important people is that they have a deeper theme of talking about beauty standards and how things like that are judged, and I feel it works well as the best, and some of those makeup aesthetics that implemented for us are excellent too. Very goes into the whole realm of body horror in some regards, so we can see it. If they give a film as a runner-up or another choices with a similar one for costume is probably Nosferatu. Wicked I kind of say is a top 3 choice for the aesthetic of the Citizens of Oz and students of Shiz Academy, but you know, in case as I feel from the development focus of bringing the Count to life in prosthetics and looks excellently done, I feel showing the elaborate form of makeup like that has the appeal approach to me in the standout. That's just like the standout. So now to choose between makeup and hair choice, I think the top 2 is going to be either The Substance or Nosferatu.
Are you getting my good side?
Our 5th category in focus is of course with every film that without this one you can't edit much together in decent substance, and that comes in the realm of the cinematography, as some can have some simple aesthetic look to it all and some can go all in, provide a visual treat for the eyes that may have had some shots stay in your mind for many years or many hours after you've seen it. In the case of these 5 movies, they have shown some of the year's best and methods and ways that can help appeal more of other films, with those nominees being The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Maria, and Nosferatu. Now these are all few in here that offer something different, from the somber simplistic to the level of experiencing a fever dream in its visual aesthetic of song and dance, or even to giant desert planets and gladiatorial arenas. But I feel the film that may give that slight edge of appealing visual imagery in all classic film format may give The Brutalist that slight chance to it. It also helps to offer some very striking appealing imagery or scenes that stand out in a film taking on new beginnings. I've seen a few have Emilia Perez as a top choice for the striking imagery in some of the musical numbers, but I feel it's a little few and far between in that regards, as my own saying from saying it. I much prefer a focus on another film with striking gorgeous visuals, and it comes to the gothic period piece of Nosferatu as a strong contender. As so many shots in Eggers' film and long-time filmmaking collaborator help provide something profound, haunting, and strikingly beautiful, and to say the best chance overall. I'd have to go with these 2 period pieces as the best looking. I know as a case people will probably say Dune 2 seems like me as a top choice one for cinematography, but a case like the first one did, I could see it as a top 3, but I don't know, that's just my own case because I've just seen some images of both of them and they're beautiful. But maybe if I had to change Brutalist to Dune, either one. So cinematography choice, I'm going to say Brutalist, Nosferatu, or Dune Part 2.
We built this city on rock and roll.
The next of the categories, and most of the big practical ones and technicalities as it comes to an end here, is building the world that the film will bring us into for the stretched period of time, and that can be the appeal in the realm of the production designs. And it's true these 5 nominees as well to help to make the most appealing to many audiences and may want to be part of this world over our own, whether for the good or bad, with these nominees including The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked Part 1. So initially I felt that at first it could be an easy win for Brutalist, given all about the concept of design and function with the characters of being an architect. However, I felt a slight aspect that may have affected it was just a little bit with learning they had used some elements of artificial intelligence for some scenes, which I feel damaged it a little bit. I feel it would appeal better if it was all done by a well-established production team. While Dune had great aesthetic and production of the planet of Arrakis, I feel it already had the love for the wing with Part 1, and there was not much of a massive amount of other elements that heightened it a little more. Sure, it might be the case of Gladiatorial Arena and maybe some other bits of like the gardens and stuff, but I don't know. Maybe I just overthinking it too much. If there's any way that I feel it may go down to is the Land of Oz from Wicked and the Gothic 18th or 19th century Europe of Nosferatu as the top choices here, as it feels well established in both and feels so much more love and dedication to make it feel like we are there in those worlds. Sure, there is a slight mixed appeal with me and Wicked, with some of the color gradings of the world feeling a little washed out when it should have been a little bit more appealing in color saturation, which probably more for cinematography, I'm not really sure. I think that looking past it, I will allow it, but to me, I feel it may come down to those two of either Wonderful World of Oz or the dark, griffy, gothic horrors of Europe in the 18th century. So my choices of production will probably go between Wicked Part 1 and Nosferatu, and if I have to give it a runner-up, I'm probably going to say Brutalist, just be even without the AI shit. Now we move to the technical nominees for the ones that you do not see with your eyes, but rather in focus the ones you observe with your ears. As we move into the first of the 3 nominees about music and sounds, with our first focus going to the environmental focus, with these 5 nominees going for the best sound category, with follows being A Complete Unknown, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Wicked Part 1, and The Wild Robot. Then there's a fair few options of films in this year's category that has plenty of variety and choice to come from these nominees, from the sounds of the fantastical worlds of Oz and Arrakis, the sounds and sights of Mexico, the sounds of the music scene in the 60s, or the fast sounds and visuals of the evolving environments on a remote island that may see as a choice to go for in best displaying their sound. I know Dune Part 1 won this category back when the first part was nominated, and I can see there was a fair bit that was added to the already established first part, but maybe I will see as a runner-up in the top 3 choices here. If I had to give my own piece of the sounds, it's a toss-up between the life of Bob Dylan or a robot learning to change her coding in a new environment as some of the best use of sound for this year in focus. The only other ones I fought on much was Wicked, but with that one I had to see more appeal on the music side aesthetic of things and be a strong one there, but I feel there is an area I'm going to go with for that choice and variety. But in all regards for best sound choice, I'm going between Complete Unknown or The Wild Robot, with a runner-up being Dune Part 2.
Man to woman.
From penis to vagina.
So this is the only category that's had a bit of an effect at this year's awards show, as usually during the whole televised event, they would have the best original songs performed throughout the night by the artists and performers, but this year they have cut it out and reduced the show's runtime. Though I had an issue with them allowing for the leads of a film that I feel have already shown the entirety of the second half of their full adaptation through the endless social media posts they post on it, and are allowed to do a musical number of the event. It just feels like a special treatment in my opinion, and just let the host of Conan O'Brien do it himself, he would have fucking smashed it. And probably because most of the songs this year are really not that great, plus will not live up to last year's showstopper Ryan Just Ken's performance by Ryan Gosling. But let me decide what may win it overall. So the focus in this regards of the nominees include El Mal from Emilia Perez, The Journey from the 688, Like a Bird from Sing Sing, Mi Camino from Emilia Perez as well, and Never Too Late from Elton John, Never Too Late. I think the case that surprised me the most is that it seems like a very slim chance that Netflix will lose the original song award this year, but the choices from Emilia Perez are not too great, besides one having Zoe Saldana acting her ass off in a performance in a so-so film, or the other song that feels close to an actual full song in the film by Selena Gomez, and in most cases choose that one of the two from that movie. The others all have that appeal, but if there is a case in my head, I hope for any of these ones from the other films, but something tells me that the most nominated of the night might get a win in this one of a song that's not really fully a song. So in the case of that regards, I'm going to say original song choice be any besides Emilia Perez, but most likely case I'm going to say El Mal probably might win it.
It's all over me! Get it off!
The last of the sound categories for the night are we given a focus is instead of just one track with a bit of a lyrics to the films, we're instead talk on the tracks that make up the sweeping scores of these movies. I know this one caused some drama as well, as the score for Dune was not allowed this year on the basis that it sounded too close in the first part score. I feel deserved a nominee in this instance, but I guess we could hope with Messiah in 2027's Oscars. But let's look at the nominees for best score for film for this year in particular, and those 5 include The Brutalist, Conclave, Emilia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. Now, I already mentioned the sound category that I saw the case of Wicked having a better chance in this category due to its popularity and the basis of its musical focus, that it would have a much better outcome of a win here, which in all fairness, I would see as a high chance. If in the case of some I would choose as a personal choice of a possible win, I see likes of another popular one going towards The Brutalist for its tone of loss, the past, and new beginnings working in tandem well enough, and then in the base of a personal choice and because I want to give the love of the form of filmmaking, I would give it to The Wild Robot, as I love their score for the sweeping lands and environments and sounds of the world and nature interwoven into it. And if for any at all, I would have them as my choices for this one, with most cases Wicked probably being the one that may push it over the top in just that regard, but doesn't win this year, it still has next year in that regard, is the case. So the likely choice winner in the sound category I'm seeing is Wicked, but my hopeful ones is either The Brutalist or The Wild Robot.
Alright, let's cut to the chase.
So continuing a trend of how I approached this next section like I did last year, and I think the first year I did these opinion ones, it is time we focus to the era of ones that work hand in hand and focus or similar elements that I have not much of an input to, and through the best to combine them, and that is with the awards in the short film categories, with each of them being separated in the live action or animated side of things, and we can list those nominees here. So in the case of live action short, the nominees are Aline, Anuja, I'm Not a Robot, The Last Ranger, and The Man Who Could Not Remain Silent. And then for animated side, we have Beautiful Men, In the Shadow of the Cypress, Magical Candies, Wonder to Wonder, and Yuck. Starting with the live action ones is mainly a variety of some stories that has a more darker story through a mixed array of views in the short story form, and going off the most popular and probably the most of focus with the likeness of winning for its close vibes to modern day is with Man Who Could Not Remain Silent, that tackled the 1990 genocide that occurred in Bosnia and Herzegovina, or from Aline, that is on the basis of immigrants dealing with ICEs even when they are registered citizens, which is very topical currently in the United States right now. In most cases, I do not have too much opinion on most of any of these shorts, but I see as one of them, either one of those two I've chosen as the win for this case. So on the case of live action short, I'm going to say either The Man Who Could Not Remain Silent or Aline. Then in the case with the animated one, the most popular of the five is a close tie between Wonder to Wonder, about the puppet stars of an 80s kids TV show trying to survive and continue the show of their creator who had recently passed away. The other would be In the Shadow of the Cypress, of a captain that's dealing with PTSD, living with his daughter who comes out of isolation and a stranded whale appears before them, and they both can provide something different with animation for all of them, with these two in particular being a return to the forgotten art of 2D animation and some stop motion in there as well. As with those ones, I would be more inclined to be the push for those ones in particular. Now I feel my choices may not be the most cut and dry outcomes given I have not seen any of them, but I will give it a focused chance of them and go off an instinct of opinions from online or these shorts. So for the animated side of things, I'm going to say Wonder to Wonder or In the Shadow of the Cypress. Doug came for the As for the second of categories I had combined together for this one is with a focus to the realm of the documentaries, and as both the long and short form in particular are similar to the shorts, I have not checked out much of these and would not have too much of an opinion, and felt there was probably one or two docs that deserved a nomination in my opinion as well, with these nominees being as such. So for normal doc film, it's Black Box Diaries, No Other Land, Porcelain War, Soundtrack for a Coup d'Etat, and Sugarcane. And then for the short film ones, it's Death by Numbers, I Am Ready Warden, Incident, Instrument of a Beating Heart, and The Only Girl in the Orchestra. Again, similar to the last pair of nominees, this is another pair that I have not seen any sort of form to it, so it's mainly going off the word online. It also was the case that I felt the two docs of Super Slash Man and Will and Harper probably deserved a nod, but was probably a very tough contest year in particular. Going off the likely winners is a toss-up between the Porcelain War or the ones that Coup d'Etat, as both tackle the focus of films on more modern situations and conflicts around the world from the past and the present in unique forms. And while some have a wider approach and some are limited in reach, I can see either one of these as being the top choice. So in choice in this case, I'm going to say either Porcelain War or Soundtrack for the Coup d'Etat. Down the likes of the short documentaries, each of them tackle an area of a different perspective, with many focus on the concept of mortality, as some tackle heavy themes like an inmate on death row who's seen a massive sign of reform and acknowledgement of his actions, or films shown from the perspective of police body cams or shooting survivors, or more lighter tones perspective of bringing people together by the power of music. But it comes down to the ones that may stick the most to the audiences, with the strongest going towards the focus of the death row inmate, or the one about one of the survivors of the 2018 Florida Parkland shooting, the best chance of a win. Well, who knows with these two awards, as it could see a massive change in the process and appeal, but we can see on the night in particular. So in case on the doc short choices, I'm going to go with I Am Ready Warden or Death by Numbers.
You saw Pitbull, Mr. Worldwide?
Now we're heading off to explore the world for the next categories. We're delving into the world of the international features and seeing what other parts of the world has to offer with their films, and it seems after a tough contest, it has come down to these 5 films and nominees, which include in particular I'm Still Here from Brazil, The Girl with the Needle from Denmark, Emilia Perez from France, The Seed of a Sacred Fig from Germany, and Flow from Latvia. So as you can see from this year, most of the nominees in this category are coming from the Eurasia area, with most being in Central Europe and one from South America, and regions of each bring something to the table. Now, going off the recent award shows seems to indicate that Emilia Perez will be the winner for this category, but I would not say it's a total definite, as I see two other films that have seen a bit of a chance as well, with Brazil's I'm Still Here being a strong contender, as well as the animated film of Flow from Latvia being two possible win chances, and what I hope will win. If there was a case of adding a sixth one to all of this beforehand, I would have suggested the nomination of the acclaimed Irish movie of Kneecap, as one really took off since it released back in August here, and a few other markets as well, but maybe it missed down some criteria. But then again, it was a big winner for some other big award shows, so I don't know what went on there. But in all case, I think those two are my hopeful winners to one I see most likely winning it. So in the case of International Film Choice, I'm Still Here or Flow would probably be my choices, but the most likely win is probably going to be Emilia Perez, but we can see on the night.
That is cinema.
Alright, controversial opinion for this regards, but this is a category that I always give a soft spot to, I love dearly, and this one I often complain about doesn't get enough as much love in these award seasons, and that's of course the animated feature side of things. It's still the case, as Del Toro mentioned 2 years ago, that animation is cinema, and the choices of this year's awards could not be more of a tough contest. And the 5 nominees in this category deserve all the love and choice, with those movies being Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, and The Wild Robot. So while I was writing the other pieces, the main one I was trying to decide on was who do I pick as the best animated film for this year, as in the instance I had opinion for this one was too much of a difficult task. I see any of these winning the award, and I can't just choose one to win as many of these films deserve the award itself, and for ones I've seen, the ones I haven't seen that have released are all beautiful and well made, and have one way or another gave me that warm fuzzy feelings or have me bawling my eyes out for most of the movie, and in case it's too tough to put down to any of one or pick one in particular. So in the one instance veto vote for this entire award show I'm going to do for myself, which is my own opinion, so if you have a problem with this, so be it. I'm gonna be case of just saying any of them deserve to win. I'm not gonna choose one, it's too difficult. Please don't say it to me. But if I had to say it's gonna come down to a close tie of contests, I feel it's gonna be a tie between Flow or The Wild Robot for this one, with Inside Out 2 as a third place title, but we'll still give the award choice to all 5. We'll probably differ by year depending on those nominated, but this year is the exception of too many good choices to choose just one. So my animated film choice is any of them, but the likely contest is down between Flow and The Wild Robot, so here's hoping anything will win. I'm happy with any of them.
Why'd they write this in letters cut out of magazines?
So now we move deeper into the main big awards of the night in the non-technical side, as we start into the discussion about taking an already established story, adapting into a screenplay that will work for a motion picture. And these 5 all take inspiration from the true stories or books and novelizations, and these nominees include A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Emilia Perez, Nickel Boys, and Sing Sing. So each of these have some variety of telling the lives of famous musicians, or the lives of people in incarceration, or lives of points in time, or stories about religious connotations or people's changing lives. And while there is many for choice, I can definitely see the likes of the religious film of Conclave as the top choice, going off of the wins at a few recent awards, and to give us a close runner-up would be the ones of Nickel Boys or Sing Sing as a close follow-up, but I see the vote for a new pope having a strong win in this category, and it also feels a little bit timely going what's happening in the world right now. But in this case, my adapted screenplay choice, I'm probably going to give it to Conclave.
Are you cussing with me? No, you cussing with me?
And then as for the other side of the screenwriting element, we are talking all about the focus of films with a deeper sense of originality, as we'll be giving a deeper look into those films of screenplays that will vary in style and substance in their works, and those nominees for the originality ones include Anora, The Brutalist, A Real Pain, September 5th, and The Substance. All of them in their own ways tell a form of unique story. Even the likes of one for September 5th would be more based on true events and kind of more of an adapted screenplay, but I don't know. And each have a sense of culture and focus and provide something that will appeal to many when possible. There is a case that I see that the big focal films that may go down to with all the crazy love story of Anora, or the focus of the beauty standards or body horror mix of The Substance, seems like the ones that have the strongest attraction of its writing. Nothing against the case of Jesse Eisenberg for his film of Real Pain, but I feel that one may appeal to more than just the other two of something of a feel-good with a bit of humor. But I feel the other two I mentioned may have this slight edge over it, but I guess we'll see on the night in that regards. But I'm going to give an original screenplay choice. I'm going to between Anora or The Substance, with maybe the top 3 runner-up is probably A Real Pain. I'll go with that case. Okay, it's time for the real big ones now as we're heading into the final batch. We start the focus of the big ones with the supporting roles that made a proper standout to it all. That is on the ladies' side as we start things off here, as these 5 have proven themselves that no matter the level of appeal, they provide a massive sense of appeal and audience choice from their performances. And those 5 for supporting actress include Monica Barbaro for A Complete Unknown, Ariana Grande for Wicked, Felicity Jones for The Brutalist, Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, and Zoe Saldana for Emilia Perez. So each of these appear in a mixed variety of film choices, and many have a fair chance of winning, even if some appear in films where it doesn't deserve that much of love or may have some conflicting opinions on, or even in cases where 1 or 2 of these feel like actually more of like the main lead character than other main lead characters. Now, what I have seen in the case is that from some of the recent award shows, the award seems to be heading towards a win for Saldana, and if I am honest, I'm kind of fine with her winning it, even if the film is not that great. I still feel Saldana has the most energy and gave it her all in that movie, and I honestly think she's more of a main character in that film than the actual Emilia Perez in that regards. As what I've seen on the basis of the internet though, the fan favorite is going towards Ariana because either the case of the Ari stans are massive, or the likes of people that just see her as the only name for a film that was heavily seen by people. To me personally, I have a conflicting opinion on Ari's character in Wicked, but that she's not feel too much like the Good Witch. Then again, I never read the book or seen the Broadway show, and we'll probably do at some point, so bear in mind that case. But I feel if it doesn't work out this year, they still have part 2 to win in that regards. And supposedly for part 2, their performances will be a lot more stronger. The other big hopeful is Isabella, that while she is not a big presence in her nominated film, it still left a very lasting experience to filmgoers, and that film has been a success story more than with these nominations. But if I would say that the case, I would put the 2 of Ari and Isabella as runner-up, likelihood of Rossellini with a slight edge, in my opinion, but I feel it seems like Saldana's to win on the night, but we shall see.
Just smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
And then we go to the side of the actors with a similar approach of these main area of the 5 actors been proving their performances prowess in the different genres and styles, and each gives something worth being nominated for. And those 5 of them consist of Yura Borislav for Anora, Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain, Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, and Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice. The similar likes of the supporting actresses, there has been one name in this list that seems like the most surefire name to be the winner, and that's for Culkin, as he's been sweeping up award after award in every award show he's nominated for. I feel it will be a surprise if he doesn't win it this time. Though it's not to say it will be a surefire one in some regards, as discussed that Borislav could be a close contender for the award after much more love has been presented since his appearance in Anora. But I feel it's at this rate it's Culkin's unlikely chance of a loss here, but we could see a massive surprise happen from the outcome, but who really knows. So in the case of the best supporting actor, I'm going to say Kieran Culkin for Real Pain, but probably runner-up is maybe for Yura Borislav for Anora. Now let's turn our attention to the leading stars of the films, and we shall start again with the women first, as they have all done a form of showing their talents, but also could have affected them over the course of some possible recent events. But we can delve into that a little later, as we have talk on choosing who the 5 nominees have a chance for with this best actress performance, which include Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Carla Sofia Gascoigne for Emilia Perez, Mikey Madison for Anora, Demi Moore for The Substance, and Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. So we will talk more on the brief opinion on all the film drama this year, but it's likely the case that Gascoigne has pretty much blown their chance with all their previous tweets and statements overall, which is a shame given they were the first trans actress to be nominated in a lead actress role ever, so it's a loss of chances for anything that came out that she has said over the years. Moving on from that and talk on it later, I feel that through all this is going to come down to 2 of the high prize awards, as are between Demi Moore and Mikey Madison, as both had seen a few award wins for their performances and each had their own buzz of a few film festivals, and it's anyone's game to win it in this regards. Now the likes could come down to it being decided by the SAG Awards, and going from what I saw is that Moore took the prize, so it might be the slight edge, but it's still going to be a tough choice call for these 2 in particular. So in the case of best actress choice, I'm going between Demi Moore for The Substance or Mikey Madison for Anora.
Now that we're men, we can do anything.
And in case of last of the acting nominations is with the leading men of the best actor category. And while it may seem like a more surefire ones with those other categories, this one has more of a variety of choice that could make or break the decision on who will take the statuette. And those nominees for this category are as such: Adrian Brody for The Brutalist, Timothée Chalamet for Complete Unknown, Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing, Ralph Fiennes for Conclave, and Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. Now, it's not to say that there's not a clear frontrunner rivalry in this, as there seems to be a clash of likeness between Brody and Chalamet to take the win, as both have seen a few wins at the different award shows, and will be a question if people want someone with such talent over the course of the last 2 decades since his first Oscar win, or a star that has become a staple of movies over the last near decade, that a win would be a great honor, or could be a new form of Leo DiCaprio or being nominated by just missing out. The other options all have something that appeals to many, but may be against in some way, from Domingo in a film that is overlooked by a lot of people, Stab being nominated for a figure that is very controversial right now, and many hoped it would be for his other film he was in that was also nominated in a different category, and Fiennes on having a strong focus but lacking the push of the marketing campaign. So I feel in all this, it's between a man coming to find a new way of life or a musician that changed music for life. And the choice of those actors is Adrien Brody for The Brutalist or Chalamet for Complete Unknown.
Not quite my tempo.
Our second last category for the night is the focus of the one that leads the charge in making these films, as it comes to the effect of a movie's director, as the way they can go about this, because determines if a film succeeds or fails is by a director and all the other people in this production. And these 5 of the category are proven something unique and appealing in this regards, with those 5 directors being Sean Baker for Anora, Brady Corbett for The Brutalist, James Mangold for Complete Unknown, Jacques Audiard for Emilia Perez, and Coralie Fargiat for The Substance. I apologize if some of those names are wrong. I know some of them are, I think, French. These 5 have shown the strongest of talent their respectful fields of making completely appealing and successful films of last year. Many have a shot of winning in different ways, but it seems like one I would go against is Perez, as it feels like the concept was not really given much detail and attention overall, and seeing a major effect to it, and may have lost a chance in that regard. In my eyes, and conferring about it online, it seems to be a trio battle between Brutalist, Substance, and Anora for the top spot, and that was where I was leaning towards, especially if it's another contest in the actor side of things, which I see either of those having the edge overall, but it's all to play for in this award season contest, as you can clearly tell. So in the case of this best director choice, I'm going between Anora, The Substance, or The Brutalist.
It's a masterpiece.
And finally, we have arrived at the big one, the final award of the night, and that is of course in the way of the big film winner of the year, with the 10 films present being the best of the best, the most popular, the ones that came out of nowhere and vary in their box office success. It all comes down to see who will be the best picture winner of these 10 nominees, and those 10 are Anora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked. All of them have proved themselves to make it this far into this category, but all since there is only one winner from these 10 that can do so. And while I have seen all those 10 films, I do have a focus of a freeway decision breaker, and I feel the win will come down to either Anora, Conclave, or The Brutalist, with the runner-up of the tree going to Substance to me personally. I feel with these films that despite one or two of them having a sense of some drama or controversy, even if one is just mustered up by the Telegraph that I will get into, I see one that was having the strongest chance of the win overall from its appeal, presentation, buzz from the film festivals and award shows, and just given the chance to have something unique to take the top prize home overall. But in the case, it could still be anyone's to win, but I guess we'll all come down to the decision on the night in that regards, and the Academy voters, which I will also get into in their regards. So in the case of the best picture category, is going to be between Anora, Conclave, or Brutalist, with the runner-up being The Substance.
Here's the motherfucking tea.
So now with all of the categories chosen out of the way, I could just leave it there, but in this instance is where I would normally give my issues from the award show. We are more here for one thing, and that's to talk about the goddamn drama. We're here to talk about the motherfucking tea. But you know, it's the case since this year has been labeled as the most drama film of them all, with nearly every film in this year's categories had some form of drama or controversy, from the minimal to a near catastrophe. And while I'm not going to go too deep into them all, I will give a few quick points as to what those dramas are for specific films in particular. It's mainly, I think it's just 4 films have had a bit of drama, but with one extra bit in their case, but let's delve into them, shall we? So the first one of focus is I'm Still Here. This one is not to do with the film itself, but rather an unfortunate incident that happened to the Best Actress nominee of Fernanda Torres. That seems to be a focus of a common occurrence for a lot of actors back in the early days, that at one point or another will have seen an instant of them doing a racial stereotype, and this one was seen as doing blackface on a comedy show back in the 90s or 2000s. This one is surprised that it's on a more minimal side side of things of drama this year, but it's a case that we have seen a fair amount of times over the years. A lot of famous faces have either done something in this form of offensive, and yeah, it is a bad thing, and they should take accountability for doing so. Now, I believe she has taken accountability for it and realized it was in poor taste and has apologized, and for which is a good step, and it seems like they have done more to resolve issues compared to some other dramas from this year, but we'll get into it. So next case, we'll talk about The Brutalist. This one comes down to 2 issues, and similar to the previous drama, this also saw a main star of Adrian Brody being called out for an SNL sketch back in 2003 for wearing dreadlocks and also doing blackface. And from what I've heard is that there has been no apology on that end as of yet for it, but the one has been more of a focus in discussion is with the film being discovered to have used AI to create a scene or use of artwork in the film, and was also used to tweak and improve the Hungarian accents of both Adrian Brody and Felicity Jones, which is one I am more annoyed by because I've seen the likes of AI usage as feeling like it is half-assed, and it'll affect the career of many people that could have had a chance to work in that industry. But these machines are not always perfect. They're far from perfect in that regard. It's going to be a long ways away from perfecting it. And as a formal piece of drama implemented a new rule for next year's award show where every film nominated in the awards must acknowledge in advance if they have used AI to better implement their film productions, which is a good move to avoid laziness and hope will not be neglected and works for in its benefit, but we shall see by next year. Okay, now we'll talk about the second last movie this time, Anora. This is a bit more small issue that has popped up with some issues about the film mainly not having an intimacy coordinator for the film, as it's a major focus about sex workers and the main lead is playing a stripper, and there's being a lot of sex in this movie. It can be a concern that nothing bad or concerning could happen with them involved, but I've not seen much of it a complaint or issue in that regards from that one. But that is not the only drama that has now supposedly popped up, as according to The Telegraph, the film is apparently a propaganda vessel for Russia, as 2 of the leads or supporting leads is a Russian actor that have seen some acclaim and success, and one even was nominated for a supporting actor in this regards. Now, do I see this as a massive Russian propaganda film? No. I think it's overthinking it, and which is a bit of a common issue with The Telegraph with some of their film takes, but who is to say that this was? I think it's overblown and think it is just worked for the story and does not have any concern or connection to the ongoing conflicts, so it's best to just not overthink it this time. Let discussion come along in the future, or if it is true, or just people trying to have a film lose a chance of being seen as problematic. Well, where to begin with this one, because out of all the film nominated for this year, Emilia Perez is the one that seems to have a new bit of drama and controversy every day or every week, and because I don't want to overdo it, I will try and summarize the entire amount of drama the best I can do so bear with me in this case. Now, one of the main issues the drama that come from this film was from the director and its title character of Carlos Sofia Gascoigne. As it was seen in likes with the director, it was down to the basis of him not caring about the research for either the country or the focus about transgender means, and didn't give too much of care representing them properly, and it's clearly shows the likes of any hardship for Emilia transitioning from a man to a woman feels very minuscule or inaccurate. And I also believe I learned that he has used AI in this film as well, which was, for what it was for, I have no idea. It's probably the songs, they probably feel like AI generated, but I've heard AI songs being better than this. Then as for Gascoigne, we've had the whole ordeal about her past and her social media posting. A common thing that needs to be seen, that some faces are of people that do not realize to delete bad tweets, or once it's on the internet, it's there forever. And it was seen for some quite abhorrent tweets that consist of like racism, homophobia, xenophobia, and a whole lot more. Into the case of hateful tweets to her soon-to-be co-star from this movie of Selena Gomez. Now, there was a sense of an apology made, but it didn't really fully help, and then without the knowledge of Netflix, the director, or anyone else in this film, she set up an interview to try and fix the mistakes and the whole issues of the tweets, but what came down to was her being less of a focus in the marketing, Netflix trying to distance themselves from them like being at the Oscars as well. I have no idea if they are going to be attending or not, but we should probably see on Sunday. It just seems like a mess that the film with good intentions was bogged down as a full mess, and question how it got many award nominations in particular. I may delve more into it in my thought in another time with like the review for it, but that's what I can give for the moment. We do have one more like drama to talk about. This one doesn't have anything to do with just one focus film, but rather it comes in the area of like just the week leading up to the awards show, where there's been a lot of discussion about the basic question, the validity or choice of the Academy voters. As there's been a bit of a discussion about votes who haven't seen all the films and projects in the award category, as there has been a bit of discourse online and some complaints about some voters leaving films out of a ranking ballot to a level of incomplete, with stuff about people not watching Dune as it was near free 3 hours because they didn't like the first part or something to it. And in the case of saying some actors don't deserve a win because they thought they already won an Oscar or award already from like a film years ago, it just seems like a weird thing to really bring up in that case. But I feel it's just a thing to bring up as it was discussed this week, but also the case to bring this whole ordeal to an end. So let's wrap this up, shall we?
It's over. Go home.
So as you bring it all to a conclusion, we have seen another 12 months of talking about all things in the realm of entertainment that has seen some films that have defined so much weight and focus and reception. They define gravity, box office, and all the challenges of where we are left with the choices that have been presented to us and will be similar in tone for next year. Sure, there could be films that to some were snubbed or deserved more, or ones that maybe should have been considered or altered if there was a chance, but at the end of the day, we can all appreciate the focus of bringing people together to feel the love of cinema, from big screen to streaming, dramas, musicals, action, animation, and to place that I love to experience all the time when I can properly do so. But in the case, just to wrap up all the choices they have for this award show, here they are for you. Best visuals go for Doom Part 2 or Kingdom of Planet of the Apes. Best editing for Conclave or Anora. Best costumes for Nosferatu The Wicker Part 1. Best makeup and hair for Substance of Nosferatu. Best cinematography for Brutalist of Nosferatu. Best production design for Wicker Part 1 Nosferatu for Brutalist. Best sound for Complete Unknown or Wild Robot would runner up for Doom Part 2. Best original song for any of those non-Mia Perez songs, but most likely wins El Mal. Best original score is likely for Wicked or Hopeful was for Brutalist The Wild Robot. Best live action short is The Man Who Could Not Remain Silent or Aline. Best animated short is Wander to Wonder or In the Shadow of the Cypress. Best doc film is Porcelain War or Soundtrack of a Coup d'etat. Best doc short I'm Ready Warden or Death by Numbers. Best international film, I'm Still Here for Flow, likely winner is Emilia Perez. Best animated films, any and all of them, or most likely contest Flow or The Wild Robot. Best adapted screenplay is Conclave. Best original screenplay is Anora of the Substance. Best supporting actress is Zoe Saldana for Emilia Perez. Runner-ups is Isabel Rossellini, Conclave, or Ariana Grande for Wicked. Best supporting actress Kieran Culkin for Real Plane. Runner-up is Yura Borislav for Anora. Best actress is Demi Moore or The Substance or Mikey Madison for Anora. Best actor is Adrian Brody for The Brutalist or Timothy Chalamet for Completely Unknown. Best director is Anora, The Substance or The Brutalist. And best picture is Anora, Conclave, Brutalist, or The Substance. So that is with all the films that I have seen as the big chance of winning. I will be surprised if the choices I did this year will be on point as they were last year, as I was only off by one as I mentioned already, but maybe another close one or a full house. But we'll also see when the full fine presenter of Conan O'Brien takes the stage and brings a lot of pizzazz to the award show when the show drops on the 2nd of March of this year. But as I wrap this up, I want to know your own thoughts on this. What are your predictions as to who will win these different categories? I'd love to know down below in the comments of your choices for each of these 23 nominations, or if there's any particular ones you want to discuss about what ones you think should win or are overrated in case instances that like seem likely but I wish it wasn't. Let me know below in the case in the comments as well. And if you like my content, want to see more from me and more case where I dress up dashingly for some regards, you can simply like and subscribe as well. I upload new stuff every single week and I love to just talk about case. And if you want me to dress up and stuff, I'll dress up and stuff. You know, the case and stuff, I'll do bits. But I think I'll let it there for now because I've rambled on long enough. So as always, you all stay being wonderful people. You all stay being fancy dressed and stay being wonderful people. Love one another, hug your closest people and everything like that, and make sure you tell them you love them. In a case instance, I've been your host Sam for another year of Oscar predictions, and let's come back next year, shall we, and see what comes out for the 2026 Oscars. Should be fun. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I shall see you all in the next episode. So take care, and I'll see you soon.